FPS, first-person shooter video games, are a massive part of the industry, so naturally, there's a lot of them coming down the pipeline every single year, and today, welcome to the page, everybody, we're going to look at 25, you heard me right, 25 FPS games that are set to release by the end of 2022. So you let me know which of these you're the most excited for. Drop a like. Make sure you are following the page with your notifications turned fully on. Let's get to the Team Chaos notification squad over 30%. Starting off at number 25 is Shadow Warrior 3. Now, this is a game I'm actually excited for. It's an extremely violent, over-the-top, and insanely fun series. It's been around for quite some time now. The original games date all the way back to the late 90s, but the rebooted franchise kicked off in 2013, and it's been good. Shadow Warrior 3 will once again have you playing as Lo Wang, and in terms of gameplay, the developers have described it as an upgraded version of the 2013 game's formula. Now, there's no official release date just yet, but it's said to be launching on the PC by the end of 2021, with console versions somewhere later down the pipeline. Number 24. I don't even know if I can say this without getting demonetized. HLET Loose. I know that's pathetic, I have to say that, but it is what it is. HLET Loose is a World War II shooter that's been in early access for a couple years now, but it's going to be released this year. Compared to other World War II multiplayer shooters, HLET Loose is much more of a hardcore, grander scale game featuring battles with up to 100 players at a time. Now, like I said, it's been in early access on the PC since June of 2019, but later this year, we will be getting the 1.0 release, and it will be ported to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, so more people can jump in on the fun. It's actually a very unique shooter, and definitely worth a look if you're a fan of World War II games, which I know there's a lot of them out there. Next up, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2. Long title, good game, hopefully. Now, Sniper Ghost Warrior, I don't know, it's a divisive series, you let me know. But surprisingly, the Contract spin-off was a step in a much better direction. Naturally, the devs want to keep that positivity going with a sequel. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is a long title, like I said, but it's going to follow in the first game's footsteps, which puts you in the shoes of, guess what? A sniper for hire. Guess what? Completing various contracts with an overarching goal as opposed to the bigger campaign approach of the main series. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is set for release on June 4th of 2021, which is just 5 days before my birthday. At number 22, Doombringer. This is an indie FPS heavily inspired by, I'll give you 3 guesses, Doom and Quake. I mean, come on, that with the description, with the name, it tells you everything you want to know. Fast-paced, skill-based combat, arena-style levels, tons of awesome environments, plus the multiplayer portion, free to play. And the whole thing is set to release on Steam in May of 2021, so if you're a fan of old-school FPS games, specifically arena shooters, Doombringer is for you. At number 21, Sniper Elite VR. I'm very interested in this. Sniper Elite's a fun series. I've wasted many hours on it. It's been around since the PS2 days. It also gave birth to the extremely fun Zombie Army spin-off series, which I just got done with that latest one. Sniper Elite VR will bring the franchise into a whole new perspective, allow you to feel closer to the action and see your work even closer up. Now, there is no set release date yet, but what we do know is it will be launching on the PS4 and the PC, so dust off the old VR headsets and keep an eye on this one. At number 20, Earthbreakers. Now, there's been quite a few games that tried to merge elements of FPS and RTS, and Earthbreakers is another one. Although this time, it may manage to crack the code. We'll see. It's a multiplayer FPS with some light RTS elements where various factions battle for control of the Earth. Now, there's an RTS-style base building with first-person shooting against other players, which I think is going to make for a fun and engaging dance between strategy and pure combat. Earthbreakers is set to release on Steam later this year, although there isn't an exact release date yet, but hopefully we get it this year. At number 19, I am super excited for this, such an underrated series. Stalker II. Stalker is an extremely underrated series, like I said, that started back in 2007, but it died in 2009. It was short-lived. It was a blend of first-person shooter and survival horror, and while the games have never been exactly mainstream, they have a passionate following and excellent atmosphere. Let me know if you've ever played a Stalker game. Stalker 2 was announced all the way back in 2010. It's been in development forever. That's not good, I know. But we did get a trailer in July of 2020 that revealed the game was still very much alive and will be launching on the PC and the Xbox Series X later this year. News has been quiet, but Microsoft assures us that the game is still coming, so only time will tell if it manages to live up to 12 years of anticipation, and normally if it's in the oven that long, it's not a good thing, but we'll see. At number 18, Core Decay. This is probably the most immersive game on this entire massive list. Core Decay is a first-person RPG shooter that has been desired as a philosophical sci-fi adventure. It takes heavy influence from System Shock and other late 90s sci-fi games. The devs have called it a blend of immersive sim and retro shooter, although the shooting can be completely avoided if that's the kind of run you're looking for. So far, Core Decay is only confirmed for the PC, but the developers have said that they want to release a mobile version as well, which is interesting, I guess. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but Core Decay should be released by the end of this year. At number 17, Necromunda Hired Gun. Now, set within the Warhammer 40k universe, Necromunda will have you playing as a mercenary tasked with hunting down various members of different criminal organizations. Very little is known about the game right now, and it was originally only revealed by accident as a leak on the Xbox store. Now, we know it's being worked on by the same team that made Space Hulk, Deathwing, and from the screenshots that leaked, it looks good. I mean, there's only so much you can take from screenshots. I give it that. I mean, it gives off a similar vibe to maybe Doom 2016. Like I said, the game was leaked a while back, so we really don't have a whole lot of official information about it, but it does look promising, and I'd keep an eye on it, especially if you're a fan of Warhammer 40k universe. At number 16, Graven, described as a spiritual successor to Hexen 2. Graven is a dark fantasy FPS being published by 3D Realms, who they actually have a pretty prestigious history with shooters. The devs say it's going to pull influence from old school FPS games as well as immersive sims and action RPGs to make for this truly unique experience, and that will be unique. Plus, it will support up to 4-player co-op and even split-screen play, which that's a nice touch in 2021. Graven is set to release in 2021 on the PC, the PS4, the PS5, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X, and the Nintendo Switch. Now we've reached the top 15. Metal, I don't even want to say it. H. Singer. I don't want to get demonetized, guys. Perhaps coolest name on the list, Metal H. Singer, is a rhythm-based FPS made by an extremely experienced team with a passion for the genre as well as heavy metal music. You venture around you know where, killing demons by the hundreds, all while listening to a heavy original soundtrack and scoring extra points if you pull off your kills in the time to the music. Plus, the original soundtrack has some highly respected metal bands working on it, like Arch Enemy, Trivium, more, I guess. If you like gory shooters and heavy music, maybe this game's for you. Probably not for me, but hey, I want everybody to be happy. At number 14, Terminator Resistance Enhanced. There won't come a day where we don't get any more Terminator games and movies, I promise. I mean, they're very hit or miss. But Resistance, it was decent. I mean, released in late 2019. It was an FPS with light RPG elements. Had you playing as a human soldier in the future, war against Skynet. It got decent reviews, and fans of the franchise in particular really liked how faithful it was to the first two movies. You know, the good movies. Now, thanks to its popularity, the game will be getting re-released on the PS5 in a few weeks as Terminator Resistance Enhanced, which, guess what? Features enhanced visuals, enhanced performance, and a little bit of extra content. So, if you're a fan of the first two Terminator movies, the classics, and you want a game that treats them with respect, this will suffice. At number 13, System Shock, the remake. After years and years of delays, the remake is coming soon, allegedly. Don't quote me on this. It's one of the most influential action RPGs of all time, and a full remake was announced all the way back in 2015. However, the development has been troubled and even suffered a full restart in 2018, which is not a good thing after the team felt they had strayed too far from the original game's vision, which is a good thing. After 6 long years, the System Shock remake is set to release in Q3 of 2021. It's going to be coming on the PC, the PS4, and the Xbox One, so time is going to tell if it lives up to the hype. At number 12, Crossfire X. This is interesting. Crossfire X is Microsoft's next big exclusive shooter, and this time, it's not going to be released on the PC. It's going to be an enhanced port and minor reimagining, of the 2007 game Crossfire, which was a very popular Korean shooter that borrowed a lot of elements from Counter-Strike. Now, Crossfire X will also have a single-player campaign to some degree, and they will feature crossplay between the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X. There is no official release date yet, but we know the multiplayer will be free to play, and it's going to launch by the end of this year. At number 11 today, Warhammer 40k Darktide. There's so many Warhammer 40k games. I mean, let's do one more. Darktide is a first-person horde shooter similar to Vermintide 2, where you and some buddies get together, you take on hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of enemies, wave after wave. The devs have also said Darktide is going to be more of a shooter than Vermintide was, as that game was more focused on melee combat. So, it's set to be released on the Series X and the PC this year. A lot of these are this year. It's going to be a stacked year. All right, number 10, Call of Duty 2021. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Following an extremely hectic development cycle for COD 2020, if anyone's guess on what actually is happening this year is correct, you win a cookie. Recent leaks have suggested the working title is COD World War II Vanguard, and it will be set in an alternate 1950s era, where that would be a first for COD. However, other leaks have suggested we're going back to World War II. Some others even said we're going into the near future into World War III, and some jokers have even suggested we're getting Advanced Warfare 2. COD 2021 is going to be a wild ride. And we're at that time of the year where leaks are flying. An official reveal has not been officially revealed yet, but it's coming soon. It's going to be cool, right? And its biggest rival, Battlefield, is coming back. At number 9, Quantum Paradox. Now, a lot of people have been revisiting the Half-Life games this last year thanks to the release of Half-Life Alyx. And if you're a fan of the franchise, you are going to feel right at home in Quantum Paradox. This is going to be a single-player mod for Half-Life 2. Tells a brand new story set in a post-apocalyptic St. Petersburg, and it's going to feature gameplay, level design, and storytelling heavily inspired by what we got in the original Half-Life games, which I think that's a good thing. Quantum Paradox is currently set to launch on Steam December 1st of 2021. At number 8, nobody's going to believe me, this one's coming. Dying Light 2. The game has been stuck in development for the longest time, but I think we may get it by the end of 2022. How's that feel going down? The first Dying Light was solid. Open world zombie game, and Dying Light 2 is supposed to expand upon its formula in lots of ways. The sequel will be a first-person zombie game with lots of combat, parkour, exploration, but it will also be much more of an RPG as you have plenty of dialogue options and side missions that will impact the way the story plays out. Dying Light 2 has been delayed tons of times, and it doesn't have a set release date right now, but I'd be shocked if it doesn't come out by the end of 2022, and if it doesn't come out then, it's probably not coming, people. At number 7, coolest title on the video, Bears in Space. I'm not kidding. Bears in Space. It's an upcoming indie FPS, and it looks cool. You play as a bear, armed with sci-fi weaponry, and it's up to you to fight through hordes of robots and get to your spaceship so you can get off whatever crazy planet you're stuck on. The gameplay, it's going to be heavily reminiscent of games like Serious Sam and Time Splitters with a complete dedication to pure fun. It's ridiculous, I know. I mean, it's nonsense, I know. But it's also going to be fun, and that's what matters. Bears in Space is expected to launch on Steam by the end of this year, and you can add it to your wishlist now if you want to keep an eye on it. At number 6, Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead 3, whatever you want to call it, right? It's probably never coming, but Back 4 Blood is going to be the next best thing. I said Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead 3 because it's kind of the same. I don't know. Anyway, it's being developed by Turtle Rock Studios and led by the creators of the original Left 4 Dead, which is good. And for those that don't know, Turtle Rock developed the first Left 4 Dead, but then Valve took over for Left 4 Dead 2, and ever since then, Turtle Rock has fallen off the map, especially after the disaster that was Evolve. So Back 4 Blood is supposed to be the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, and it's shaping up to be Turtle Rock's big comeback. Now, it's currently set to release on PC and console this coming October, and it is hyped. A lot of people are excited. Hopefully they don't screw it up. At number 5, Postal Brain Damaged. Postal is not a series people go to for deep storytelling or complex gameplay, but I'm actually interested. Postal Brain Damage is going to be an old-school FPS heavily inspired by games like Quake and Duke Nukem 3D. It's going to encourage fast combat, exploration, all topped off with, of course, graphic violence and crude humor. It's always been a pretty ridiculous series, so why not take it to the extreme with a fast-paced old-school FPS, right? There's no official release date, but the Steam page says it will be out in 2021, so keep an eye on it. I mean, maybe it'll shock us, or maybe you'll end up using a cat as a silencer. I don't know. At number 4, Sprawl. I mean, am I the only one that loves the fact that old school FPS games they're popular? I love it. It's an upcoming retro FPS with a cyberpunk style. You're stuck in a dystopian city ruled by a fascist government. The goal is to fight them off while climbing the giant spire in the middle of the city, eventually facing off with whoever is in charge. Gameplay, fast, demanding, skill-based, just like any good FPS game should be, and the graphics look really good for a game being made by 2 people. You heard me right. It's being made by 2 people. There's no official release date yet, but the Steam page has tons of videos and screenshots, so I'm going to guess and say it will drop late 2021 or early 2022. Keep an eye on it. It could be cool. At number 3, Far Cry 6. This is one of my most anticipated games of the entire year. Far Cry is a franchise that's been pretty up and down, but when it's up, it's up. Far Cry 6 is set to release later this year, and it will take the fight to a fictional island based in Cuba. It's going to have you fighting back against a fascist dictator. Ubisoft has also said this will be the biggest map in franchise history, and from the promo material, I'm excited. I mean, Far Cry 6 is set to launch on both current-gen and next-gen consoles, as well as the PC Stadia, you heard me right, the Stadia, and the Amazon Luna, although I wouldn't hold my breath on those last two, honestly, and I probably wouldn't buy it on them either, but it is what it is. And be careful if you're buying it on the last-gen, too. That could get dicey. At number 2, speaking of dicey, Battlefield 6. After the failure, we'll all agree a failure, Battlefield 5 put out, EA put the franchise on the bench for a few years to reassess and figure out a good comeback story. Well, the wait is finally coming to an end. EA confirmed in an investor call earlier this year that Battlefield 6 is coming out by the end of 2021, and it's going to be the biggest entry yet. More destruction, bigger lobbies, visuals, you guys know, and most likely a battle royale. Battlefield 6 really has to be good if EA wants to save this franchise, but if they do it right, it could end up being one of the best shooters of the year. I hope it is, because competition breeds success, and they have other competition. At number 1 today, on the top 25 upcoming FPS games for 2021 and 2022, that's a long title too, Halo Infinite. I know I'm not the only one who really wants this to be good and is really nervous about it. It's been in a rough spot ever since Bungie left, but the Master Chief Collection has revived it slowly but surely. Halo Infinite will be the conclusion to the 343 trilogy, and it's Microsoft's last chance to keep this franchise relevant. The game has already been delayed a few times in order to polish it up and make sure it's truly ready for release. So, let's all fingers crossed and hope it's good. I really want this to blow us away, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit nervous. There you have it, my friends. Those are upcoming FPS games you need to keep your eye on. It's going to be a good year or two, my friends. We have a lot of content coming. If you guys made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you. I appreciate it. We're on our way to 30,000 subscribers. Thank you so much.